Welcome back to the second episode of Charms Diaries. It's the 23rd of November, which means after the grand plan to do a daily vlog, literally on the second day, I missed the instalment. Yesterday was a stream day, and I spent the daytime with my fiance watching Mission Impossible, which is a good film, a little bit predictable at times, but definitely worth a watch. And then I spent the evening streaming, so I just didn't find a time slot to do it. There was definitely time in there where I could have done it. I chose to spend my time differently by sitting down with a nice cup of tea and watching a film. But we move. I think you can have a bad day and miss a day. That doesn't mean you have to miss a week or miss a month. So here I am on the second instalment. I'm feeling pretty rough, to be honest with you. I've got a nasty cough that's niggling at the back of my throat. I've got a bit of a cold. I'd quite like to be in bed, but I've got some coffee, so I think we'll be able to get through this and hopefully it'll be an interesting watch. Today I wanted to talk about getting into content creation because that is a question that I get asked even as a small creator. You know, I'm thinking about starting to post on TikTok. I'm thinking about starting to post on YouTube. How do I get started? And the answer is really, really simple, but incredibly difficult at the same time. The simple answer is if you want to start making content, just start. There's nothing stopping you. You don't need fancy equipment. You don't need an expensive camera. You don't need expensive lighting. You don't need any of those things. You just need your phone. Most people have a camera phone in their pocket with a camera that is probably better quality than you are going to get from some kind of budget DSLR camera. So that's where you start. And the proof is in the pudding with that, really, because I film on expensive cameras. I've fallen into that trap of looking at the shiny things and trying to get better cameras and better lighting and all of those things. This camera was 700 or 800 quid. I've got, a microphone that's over 100 quid here. I've got lots of equipment around me that costs lots of money. But fundamentally, it doesn't change what just on my phone without a microphone. Raw audio, raw video. And it just blew up. It was off the back of a trend. But there was lots of videos that I saw that were off the back of that trend that didn't do as well. But what it was authentically me. It was something that made me laugh. And it was a video that I liked. And it resonated with the audience at that time. So you don't need all of that stuff. You've got software like CapCut now that you can get on your phone that allows you to kind of edit video up and chop things up and add effects and transitions and all that stuff. You know, historically that would be thousands of pounds worth of software to do effects like that, and now you can pretty much get it for free either on your phone or on your laptop, and you can record stuff on your phone and chop it up and make it feel really nice. The difficulty I guess that people have is ideas on what content should I do? And I think the answer to that is slightly more nuanced. The way I look at it and the recommendation I always make to people is to make content that you want to see out in the world. That's it. You know, things that you enjoy. If you enjoy gaming, then make some gaming content. That could be anything from you streaming, it could be gameplay, could be you reviewing games, could be you just taking other people's gameplay footage and making really nice edits of it. Highly recommend you credit those people for their gameplay footage, but there's a whole host of different things you can do, and the main thing is just to get started because your content will develop over time. If I look back even 6 months on my TikTok feed, it's a very different feed to what it is now. If I look back 6 months on my stream, it feels like a very different stream than it is now because you develop and you get better and you stretch those muscles. The other thing I would say with content creation is to trust your intuition. So both of there's two particularly successful posts. Like I said, the 2.6 million one, and there's another one at 100,000. I know there's quite a big difference between those two, but those are my two most successful posts. Both of those were ideas that just came to me that I quite easily could have dismissed. They weren't big planned ideas. They were just things that I thought, oh, this is interesting. One of them is just me essentially speaking the words of the opening song to Hamilton as if it's a poem. and the other one is the viral video that I got. And they were both really simple. No editing, single take things. One was done on the camera with a microphone, and the other was done just on my phone. Trust your intuition when it comes to ideas. The best thing you can do is, if you get an idea and go, oh, that might make a good video, is to get your camera out and record it then. Some cases that won't be possible. It'll be a much bigger idea that needs planning. I've got a few videos that I'm thinking about, but they need some planning. With those videos that need the planning, the difficulty for me is that there's a real risk that they won't happen, because I don't know about everyone else, right? But for me, there is a certain level of procrastination with bigger ideas because of nerves around actually going to do the video itself. So I've got a video idea that involves my car, but in order to make it work, how I want it to work, and order how have it set out how I want it set out, it means I'd need to be out on my front street or out somewhere filming, out in the wilderness. Not out in the wilderness, but out, potentially in front of people. Potentially people will see me. Potential people will be going, "What's Charm doing outside with that camera?" And I've got some anxiety around that. I've got another idea for a video around a gaming arcade that I want to do, but again, it would require me to be there and interacting with the public and putting myself out there, and there's just a certain level of nerves with that. I'm a pretty confident person, but I'd rather get up in front of 200 people and do a speech than walk up to someone on the street one-on-one and ask them to do a task or ask them to do something. I think there's a lot to be. You look at someone like Mr. Beast, who's going out there and doing that every day and just walking up to random people, and probably almost the founder of that type of content. It takes a lot more confidence than you think to walk up to people on the street and to do that. It's a very, very difficult thing to do, and you've got to be willing to have people tell you to fuck off, essentially. That's what you've got to be willing to do. So when I started making content, one of the reasons I started streaming first was because I thought that was more of a performance that I could then chop up into usable pieces of content. You are bouncing off a chat, you're bouncing off the content within the video. It's not just you looking down the barrel of a camera trying to make content, and it's not just, you about the fact that I wanted to be a big streamer. It's that I thought it was a good source of content for me. Of course, you develop on from that and you try and do other things as well. And the other stuff is tended to be the more successful stuff rather than just the gameplay footage from my stream. So that's the idea, is just to get started and to take that leap. It feels to me like you're standing on the high diving board at the swimming pool, and the first jump is always incredibly difficult, but the second and third and fourth, as long as you do them in quick succession, are very, very easy. Because once you've got over that initial fear, it's not scary anymore, and you can just carry on doing it. So that's where I'm at this point. I'm feeling a little bit ill, but I have got some plans for some much bigger pieces of content that will be quite different from any streaming stuff that you've seen me do before. And they'll probably live on YouTube, to be honest with you, because there'll be longer form pieces that are a bit more considered, rather than 1 or 2 minute pieces, which tend to work a little bit better on TikTok. Stuff like this, for example, really hard for me to chop up into usable 1 minute segments. I don't really want to. This is purely a longer form piece of content where I just want to talk to you guys directly rather than it being any kind of performance. So I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna go and maybe take some cold and flu medicine. But I hope you guys enjoy this one, and we'll see how these keep going. Hopefully I'll have more stuff to talk about. But yeah, if you want to get into content creation, just get started. Get your phone out, start recording stuff, narrate stuff, film yourself. Doesn't matter what it is. Don't be precious about it. Just put stuff out into the world. And as you start to do that, more ideas will come to you. and then you can start to think bigger. And only start investing in expensive equipment when, one, you're sure it's something you want to do for a long time, and two, when, potentially when it starts making you some return. If anyone out there wants to sponsor me, feel free to come in. I could do with a new lighting rig, I could do with a new PC, whatever you want to give me, I'm happy to take. But yeah, only invest in stuff when it's really, really required. When you're at a point where you go, I can't achieve what I want to achieve with the stuff that I've got in my pocket. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good day. I'll see you for the next one.